you have a sheet of paper and pen, please type yes. If you don't have, please get a sheet of paper and pen. I want us to do this activity in max 15 minutes. I want us to be done with this activity. So please grab a sheet of paper and pen, and we're going to do this together. So the first thing I want you to do for me, replicate what you see on the screen. Draw a circle and split the circle and label it the way you have seen it. When you have done so, type done in the chat room quickly. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes or less to do this immediately. Draw what you see on the screen, divide the circle, label it the way you can see it. You don't have to do the markings inside the circle, all the dots and the numbering. You don't have to do that. But just draw the circle, divide the circle, and write the words you can see on the screen. If you have done so, type done. I will give you a few minutes so that you can do that immediately. Then we can go into the activity itself. So quickly, let's do so. Yeah, I can see Tarihaan handle done. Beautiful. Who else? Please do that right away. Quickly, in 3 minutes, let's get that done. So I'm counting down. Let's see you do your wheel of life. Just draw it. And then tell me done. Abdul Kadir Aishatu is done. Fantastic. Yes. Who else? Counting down. When I have, how many people are on this call so far? I have 26 people. I can't wait for call room. But when I have 5 people that have finished, I think I can continue. So far, 2 people have finished. 2 people have finished. Coach Bash, mind yourself. 2 people have finished. I'm waiting for other people. Hopefully, many of you will finish around the same time. So when you finish drawing, just type done. When you finish drawing, just type done. Done. Okay, I can see Mint Davy. You're actually sending me private messages. You can check your setting so that you can put it in the public domain. Ann Ogoza is done. Tayo Bayo is done. Madonna is done. Abby is done. Beautiful. The grammar queen is done. Good, good. Mint David is also done. Imadie is done. The wordsmith, I see you, also done. So let's go to the next phase. Now, I'm going to be calling out some questions, and your job is to score yourself. So how do you score yourself? If you take a look at the screen, the numbers are scored between 1 to 10. You recall at the beginning and asked you, was on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your life satisfaction quotient?
What is out?
Somebody needs to mute their microphone. Somebody needs to mute.
So when is
somebody please mute the microphone.
Wow, nice.
398399. Please mute your microphone. Thank you. Okay. So when you look at the screen, this sheet is scored from 1 to 10. When I ask you a question, I want you to mark a point on that panel that represents a score between 1 to 10. Let me give you an example. The first item in this sheet is career. I'm going to start with career, for example. If I ask you a question about your career, you're going to score that question on a scale of 1 to 10. So you're going to mark a point that represents 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10, where 1 means 4 and 5 means 50-50. I'm trying. And 10 means I'm exceptional. So your scoring is, if it's tending towards 1, it is poor. If it is tending towards 10, it is excellent or exceptional or very good. That is the degree of measurement. So we're going to start with career. You're going to mark it on your sheet. Please make sure you mark a point that represents a number. At the end of all the markings, you're going to connect all the dots in a circular form. So please be very honest about your score so that you can measure your performance as of today. Thank you. So let's start with career. For career, I want you to ask yourself, as of today, listening to Sam Obafemi, What is the state of my fulfillment career-wise? How fulfilled am I career-wise? When I look at where I imagined I should be, and I compare it with where I am, and I compare it with where I'm coming from, what's the state of my satisfaction? If you have scored that, I want you to type C1. C1. If you have scored career, type C1. Then I'll go to the next one. If you have scored career, type C1. So score yourself. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's my satisfaction with my career path so far as at today? You're not projecting future. You're not talking of past. You're scoring yourself as at today. So thank you for those that have answered. Let's go to the next one. Family and friends. If I was to use another wheel, I'll most likely separate family from friends as two different entities. But for the sake of this wheel, we're going to combine both. And please, let's accommodate that. Family here is defined as you and your siblings and your parents. That's family. Family here does not mean you and your children and your spouse. Family here is talking about you and your siblings and your parents, and then friends. So I want you to ask yourself, in the scheme of things, how happy do my family members and friends make me? How happy am I in the scheme of things with family and friends? How happy am I? How satisfied, how fulfilled am I among family and friends? When you score that, I want you to type FF1. When you have scored that, please type FF1.
A quick question, Coach
Yes,
Sam.
yes, please. Yeah.
This is Ogoza Ann speaking.
Hi, Ogoza.
So, yeah, I'm very well. Can you separate family and friends? Because you could have a different rating for family and a different one for friends, or you just want us, to do an average of it. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, like I said at the beginning, for this particular exercise, we're just doing an exercise. Ordinarily, if I was to redo this wheel, I'll separate both family. I'll separate family from friends. But for this exercise, just do an estimation so that we can go on. But on your own later, you can reproduce the wheel and actually separate them and redo this exercise, which would be nice. So for the sake of this exercise and because of time, let's just assume a score that is like an average, like an estimation on the overall. Would that work for you?
Absolutely done. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. So let's go to the next one. The next one is talking about your love life. Will in-laws be part of family too? Yes. In-laws are part of family too. To some people, that will just crash your score. But don't quote me anyway, please. So let's go to the next one. Significant other and romance. Here we're talking about your love life. What is the state of your love life? How would you score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 with respect to your love life? What is the state of your love life? Score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. If you have done so, I want you to type L1. If you have scored yourself, type L1. The grammar queen be coming down, saying I'm done on love life. If it's non-existent, that's a 1. If it's non-existent, that's a 1. Somebody sent me a private message. What if it is non-existent? It's a 1. Remember that when you tend towards 1, it means poor or absent. But you have to score it. If it's non-existent, that's a 1. So let's go to the next one. The next item on the wheel is fun and recreation. Fun and recreation is defined as leisure and pleasure. Leisure and pleasure, non-work moments. Fun and recreation means spending time not at work, not doing work, not doing any serious engagement. Is leisure and pleasure. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the state of your leisure and pleasure life? leisure and pleasure life. How do you rate yourself in terms of leisure and pleasure? When I told you I took my life back in 2016, this was one significant area that I worked on. Today, I really, really appreciate how much I have done improving my leisure and pleasure. I take time to enjoy myself, self-care, enjoying, rest, catching a lot of pleasurable moments. That is a key factor. So score yourself today on a scale of 1 to 10, my leisure and pleasure. If you have scored yourself, type LP1. If you have scored yourself, type LP1. Leisure and pleasure. Fantastic. Fantastic. LP1. Fantastic. 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 Any more people? Good. The next item on the wheel is health. Health. And health is a summation of your mental health, your emotional health, and your physical health. Health is a sum total of your mental health, emotional health, and physical health. I want you to ask yourself, am I well? Am I okay? Mentally, am I well? Emotionally, am I well? In my body, am I well? If I'm to sum up this, my health status, emotionally, mentally, physically, what score will I give it on a scale of 1 to 10? If you score it, type H1. Mental, emotional, and physical health. By the time you do an average, sum total of your health in total, what will you score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? Type H1. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. The next item is money. Money, 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 money. In another wheel, we call this finance. In another wheel, we call this finance. Finance is defined as my state of financial comfort, my state of financial security. It is not talking about liquid cash. It is talking about the fact that if I need financial help today, I can raise it. I have access to people that can support me. I have assets that can keep me going. I just have a system that can financially protect me when the chips are down. That is what money is in this wheel: finance, financial security. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your financial security? On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your financial security? Score it. And when you do, I want you to type F1. Finance. F1. Awesome, 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 awesome. The next one is personal growth. Personal growth. Personal growth is defined as my consistency with developing myself, investing in learning, consistent in learning, consistent in using what I'm learning. That is personal growth. Investing in learning, consistent in learning, and consistent in using what I'm learning. That is personal growth. Score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How consistent is my personal growth? How consistent is my personal growth? Personal growth. When you score it, it is called PG1. When you score it, type PG1. PG1. Awesome. 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 Then the last item on this wheel is talking about physical environment. That there is a correlation between the physical place you live and work and your well-being. Where you live and where you work has a direct relationship with your life status, your life fulfillment. If you live in a clutter, it will show in your life. If you work in a toxic place, it will show in your life. If you live in a toxic place, it will show in your life. If the places you hang out and live and stay, where you spend time physically, affects your well-being and affects the status of your life. That is very key. So you ask yourself, based on the areas I spend most of my time, physical areas, how healthy are they on a scale of 1 to 10? How functional, how dynamic, how positive are the places I spend most of my time on a scale of 1 to 10? How functional are these places? how tidy, how decluttered, how lit up, how roomy, how airy, how ventilated, how colored. There are so many factors that play out here, but generally speaking, how does my physical environment affect me? You type PE1 when you have scored that. PE1 for physical environment. PE1. Now you have scored yourself dots and form an inner shape. Connect the dots and form an inner shape of a wheel that is representative of what you have scored yourself. Let me show you an example of what your new shape should look like. Take a look at the screen. Your new shape should look like the inner color of this wheel. Your new shape should look something like the inner color of this wheel. So connect the dots round and shade the inside, shade the new shape that your wheel produces. Shade the new shape that your wheel produces. If you have done that, just type done. If you have done that, just type done. Connect the dots round and shade it. Color the inner wheel. Color the inner wheel of your new shape. Then type done when you have done so. Fantastic. Now I can take my screen off so that we can have the real conversation. Awesome. Now let me ask you one question. I'll ask you maybe 2 or 3 questions, and I want you to answer me frankly speaking. Question number 1, that inner shape that you have drawn, if it was your life bicycle wheel, will it turn effectively? Yes or no? If that inner shape was your life bicycle wheel, will it turn effectively? Yes or no? Straight to the point. Yes or no? Straight to the point. And is Kukuma laughing? Will it turn effectively? Yes or no? That's question number 1. Question number 2, I want to ask you, what is that one thing on your wheel? What is that one thing on your wheel that if you pay attention to it, it will fix every other thing? What is that one thing on your wheel that if I pay attention to this one, every other thing will fall in place? Mention that part on the wheel. Is it finance? Is it love? Is it, family? Is it just, what is that one thing that is so key that if I just fix this one, I'm sure that the rest will start taking shape? Yes, I know there are more than one, but usually there is that one critical pillar that if I can just pay attention to this one, I can start seeing myself improving in the rest. One thing, please pay attention to the question. Pay attention to, we're doing coaching now. I want you to know that these questions I'm asking you are real coaching questions. You may think that you need to fix 2 things. You may think that you need to fix 5 things. You may think that you need to fix all the wheel. But in real practical life terms, there is one that if you fix, the rest will start taking shape. So please don't rush to answer. Look at your wheel again and ask yourself, in fact, let me tell you something. The area you find the most challenging in your life is most likely that part that you need to fix. The area you are suffering from or struggling from is that area where if I just pay attention to this one, somehow you will start finding yourself fixing the rest easily because one major pillar has been fixed. So again, look at that thing. Thank you, Tarihaan. Look at that wheel again and identify what is that one thing that if I fix this one, I know, say, every other thing will just start to take shape, That one thing. Now, that one thing, I want you to go to a different sheet of paper and write it boldly. Write it boldly. That one thing, significant other, or finance, or personal growth, or career. That's one thing. Good. Now I'm going to ask you a few questions, and this is where my tips and strategies come in. The strategies to fix and make your life count is, number one, define what that one thing means to you. Define. You can write the tips now. Later, you will start processing what I'm saying because of time. Write the tips now. Number one tip, define what this one thing means to me. If you say career is that one thing, what does career mean to you? Does it mean I want to become a professor at the age of 50? If significant other is your own one thing, what does it really mean? Does it mean I want to get married, or I want to feel in love with so kind of person? I need you to define that one thing to you. You know why? Many of you have written significant other. But if I was to ask you what it means, none of you will tell me the same meaning. Not likely. There is usually a personal meaning to what you write. So number one tip, define this one thing. What does it mean to you as a person? Number two tip, who is an example of this thing to you? Who is an example? Who is living the life you think that if I can just be enjoying or experiencing what I want like this person? We call it the law of referencing. Who is that one person that is an example? It may not even be real, but there's a perception in your head that this person is enjoying what I wish I can enjoy. So if you say significant other, who has a relationship that you perceive that I wish I can have somebody that loves me like this, or I wish I can love somebody the way this person loves this person? Who is an example of that thing to you? Personal growth. Who is an example of somebody whose lifestyle of personal growth is something you want to emulate? Career. Whose career pattern or path or trajectory is an example of the career you want to emulate? You have to find an example, because when there is an example, your motivation is not broken. That's step number two. Step number three is, what resources do I need to have to start building myself in this area? What resources? What resources do I need to have to start building myself in this a little, so that you can understand what that means? Resources include the following. Number one, resources include people. Who do I need to start associating with that can take me in the direction of this goal that I want? Madam Joy, money is not the resource. Money, in fact, permit me to digress a bit. The last resource you need is money. You can quote me anywhere. The last resource you need is money. Money is a distraction. I can tell you this, you may not believe it and you may believe it. Money will distract you from achieving the specific goal you want to achieve. Because when money starts pouring in, you just feel like, what's there to do again? So money is usually the last resource you need. The following resources are key. One, people. Who must I start associating with that can keep me on my toes towards this one thing that I've written down? Two, what environment must I start associating with? I'm talking about resources now. Remember, we're on question 3 or tip number 3. Tip number 3 says, what resources do I need that can help me achieve this one thing? Now I'm breaking down resources. Number 1 resource, so you can say 3A. 3A is people. There are people that God has sent into your life. They are around you. You're just not seeing them, or you're not using them, or you're not leveraging them, or you're not associating with them, but they are there. It's now your business how you utilize them. So 3A is people. 3B is environment. There are places you should not catch yourself. They will always set you back. Meanwhile, there are places you must put yourself because they will always push you. So 3B is environment. 3C is beliefs. 3C is beliefs. You need to query yourself. What do I even believe about this thing? And if my belief is disempowering me, how can I work on this belief? It's very key. That's resource number 3. Resource number 4 is attitude. Attitude. Attitude means when the going gets tough, what should I be doing to keep going? Your attitude must be optimistic, like you have to have zero tolerance for negativity. Some of us are able to arrive at this point in our lives because whether our personal flaws get in the way or people tell us things that hit our heart, we have an attitude that says, no problem. I will shall they go. Make a shall they go where they go. I am somebody that has come to the point where I get feedback almost every day. Positive feedback, negative feedback. People say, I say this, I say this. People say a lot of things about me. But one thing is very clear. You see that place I'm going, my eyes is clear on it. So I make sure I maintain an attitude that keeps me going. Even when I feel hurt, offended, wounded, and betrayed. That attitude is key. So that is number 4 resource I want you to take note of. People, environment, beliefs, and attitude. Then number 5 resource is capacity for exchange. Capacity for exchange. Number 5 resource is enterprise or exchange. Enterprise or exchange. And what that means is that you must constantly ask yourself, what do I have to give to get what I want? What do I have to give to get what I want? There's always exchange in this life. Some of you want people to mentor you. You're not willing to give something. You're not willing to support the person that you want to mentor you. Some of you want somebody to give you opportunities, a platform. You are not supporting their platform, but you want them to give you their platform. It does not work like that. Some of you want somebody to invest in your idea and put money in it. You say, just invest, sir, just invest. But you have not demonstrated support for their own business or ideas. Where do you think the money will come from? So exchange is a resource. Nothing goes for nothing. That is why Nigerian politicians are always ahead of us. They are willing to compromise just to get their own gain. And Zig Ziglar will say, if you make somebody else achieve their dream, they will help you achieve your dream. That is exchange. Exchange. That's a powerful resource that you must learn to exercise. Don't go asking people for help, support, anything without demonstrating that I'm here for you. In fact, pay it forward first. Without expecting, you will just be surprised how it will come back to you. So that is tip number 3. Tip number 3 is, what resource must I get to achieve this one thing? Tip number 4 is, when should I start exercising number 1, number 2, and number 3? When should I start? And for me, I usually say, you don't have all the time. You don't have all the time. Madam Joy says reciprocity does not work all the time. Nothing works all the time. I don't want you to entertain limiting beliefs, Madam Joy. I don't know you, but I don't want to encourage you to start thinking of, it won't work. It will not work every time. It will not work every time. That already is a belief you need to throw away. Nothing in this life works every time. But if you're focusing on what will not work, you are limiting your potential already. Please throw that away. Don't let this happen to you. Thank you. So tip number 4, like I said, is knowing that I don't have all the time. Starting now, starting now, starting now. Make sure that there is a sense of urgency to you making your life count. Some of you are waiting until you are married then your life will start counting. Some of you are waiting until your child is an adult, then your life will start counting. Some of you are waiting until you have that cash balance in the account, then your life will start counting. Some of you are waiting for somebody to say, I believe in you, then your life will start counting. Some of you you are waiting for something. I don't know what it is. Somehow you're waiting for validation, approval, opportunity, platform. Somebody should come and back you up. Somebody should come and ginger you. So maybe the sun has to come out, or no, when it's rainy season, when it's not rainy season. You are creating reasons. Book of Ecclesiastes. It says that there's just that person that is waiting for all the perfect conditions. If not, he's not going to do anything. Are you that person? Tip number 4, start. Start with what you have where you are. Start making your life count now. That's tip number 4. And then the last tip, number 5. How will you know that your life is counting? What needs to happen for you to start knowing that your life is counting? What will happen? For me, one of the biggest boosts that makes me know my life is counting is that there is no 24 hours that passes that somebody will not say, there was something you said or did or I saw or I read or something about you that he just told me that in this life I will never go back again. It makes me just keep going like, wow, yes. We're hitting the high notes. So you need to decide for yourself, what are the metrics I need to see that makes my life count? I know my life is counting because when I ask for help, I get help immediately. That makes me know my life is counting because it means that I'm doing something right. It makes you making your life count. So you need to ask yourself, what needs to start happening for me to know that my life is already counting? If you write that list, it can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3, and start using that as a benchmark. It becomes like an ultimate goal. It becomes a purpose. It becomes the higher picture that says, as I'm seeing these things happen, it becomes my fuel. You need to determine what are the metrics that will show you that your life is counting. I'm going to stop talking at this point. I hope I have added value to your life. I'll be willing to take questions now so that we can wrap up. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak to you. And I pray that God would take it from here and do the rest in your heart and in your spirit. Thank you very much. So I can take questions now.
Thank you so much, Coach Sam. I believe I've gotten a lot, and I think I'll try to put them in practice. So the floor is open for everyone. If you want to ask questions, don't keep your questions to yourself. This is free coaching session with Coach Sam now. Ask your questions, ask away. All right, so who do we have first? Please just raise your hands and we'll ask you to unmute so we can be orderly. We don't have any questions. No questions.
I'd like to ask a question, please.
Okay, please go ahead.
Awesome.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Madam Joy. And thank you very much, Coach Sam. I know yes, I know that you shouldn't put money first and then get stuck, trying to say, I need this amount of money to get this done. But I think you will agree with me that it matters so much. For me to have better health, I'd like to have more money to go, do maybe the annual tests, I need to do. For me to, grow, for my personal growth, I need to train and I need to pay for this training. I know I am open most of the time to exchange, with people, to give whatever I have of myself. But then the other person, I don't know his or her needs. His needs might not be that at that moment. His or her needs might be something else that I am not able to give.
Yes.
Frankly, for physical environment, I'd love to maybe be in Nigeria right now. And I know that the minimum I could have as cash will be ₦1 million, and I am caught between spending that, to be in Nigeria right now, or putting that into a training, that I also want very much, this first quarter of the year. So basically, I get it, but I just feel that it's very important. There are just a few things, when I look at it, family and friends, you don't really need money for that. Significant other, you don't need money for that. You show up, you pray, and then the universe, God, in his infinite mercy, things, work together for good. For fun and recreation, it's the same thing. You need money. Like a friend was saying the other day, the moment I walk out the door, I'm spending money. She just said, he said, the moment I've noticed that the moment I step out of my house, I'm spending money. It's just going. And unless I find recreation at home, and sometimes I'm done with being at home. I want to leave the house, So,
okay.
Yeah. So I do understand you, but I want you to talk a little bit about that.
I'm going to do that right away. Thank you, Madam Joy, for that contribution. Yes. So permit me to say the Bible, the Holy Bible says, money answereth to all things. So yes, I'm going to be deceiving you if I say you don't need money. Remember my statement. I said the last thing you need as a resource is money, not that you don't need money. Because I charge a very crazy fee for sessions. A session like this typically would cost $500. So if money is not a thing, why am I charging high fees? So I want to clarify that it's not that you don't need money. No. But the fact is, when you look at the progression of resources, and I can tell you this confidently because from my study, my observation, even from mentoring that I have received, you will realize that where money comes in is more like a byproduct of many things. Byproduct. Money is actually a fruit of other efforts. Money is not a seed in itself. Money is a byproduct of things. So when you look at the resources we have discussed, you realize that money is a byproduct of those resources. Everything you mentioned as an example can be done by other means than money, but not that you don't need money. So this is validating your point that money is a key element. Money answereth all things. But I want us to also remember that, because people even in business come and say, I need so money to start this business. I need so cash to start this business. If we all were looking for the money to do anything, we will not have it. There's never enough money to do everything we want. So it's not absence of money, no doubt. But money is not the first thing, it's not the second thing, it's not even the third thing. It's actually a byproduct of other things. So I think that balance would be nice to have. I'm not disputing you in any way. I'm just validating what you have said. So thank you, Madam Joy. Madam Ovosa raised her hand before Coach Bash. So, Madam Ovosa, let's take you first, then we'll take Coach Bash. Is that okay by you? Tarihaan?
Yes, it's fine.
Sorry, you said your first name is
Neka. My name is
Neka, so I can call you by your Neka.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. So, Madam Ovosa, you can speak.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. And I'd say I didn't actually start early, but the part I got was quite entertaining and informative for me. And,
Thank you,
I started with where you have career from the wheel, and I didn't quite get it, but I really got the one of the fun and creation. So my own, is it a question? Is it an observation? Mine is this fun and creation. And it goes with, that is where I have most of the challenge, if I can say here. And but Now, the irony of it is people see me and feel or say that I'm fun to be with and all that, but deep inside me, I know that that is one part that I need to really work on. One, you know, when you start talking about the resources, the tips, the resources that we need.
Yeah.
And I have the people there. I have the people. But is it the visibility now? And as you know, maybe I'm in when I'm in WhatsApp group, I usually don't talk. So I know that part. You understand? So there are the people there. But now putting myself out there it's the challenge. We'll talk about the environment. I have the old school. I have, you know, I don't know if I've made myself clear. So I don't know how to now marry it. People see you and you say, oh, you're fun to be with, you're this, and deep inside, you know, it sounds like a comedian that is making people laugh, and right inside you do not have joy, right? Kind of.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So my take is this. Don't confuse your personality with what we mean by fun and recreation. Someone like me, for example, I'm introverted, and people close to me say I'm humorous. I have dry humor. I make people laugh. I can be very playful, but you can hardly see the playful side of me in public. Hardly. I need to mute, Madam, I may need to mute you as I answer this. So you can hardly see me playful in public, hardly, but that's my personality. Fun and recreation, just like the first tip. The first tip said, define what this means to you. What is fun and recreation? We have defined it as leisure and pleasure. But you have to define what it means to you. It doesn't matter how people see you. People love you, you're a comedian. That's their perception of you. But that doesn't mean that you're enjoying fun and recreation. That doesn't mean you're enjoying leisure and pleasure. You have to ask yourself, in what ways do I want to undertake leisure and pleasure? Do I want to take myself out once a week? Do I want to save money and travel once a quarter? Do I want to chill in my house and just binge on Netflix without doing any work? It's you that will define what works for you. Nobody can do that for you. So you know that, I need to work on my fun and recreation. What does fun and recreation mean to me? What do I want to start doing in this area to improve on it? So one, you have to define what it means to you. Then you have to define what you want to be doing that makes you know that you are improving in your leisure and pleasure. This is completely irrelevant what anybody thinks about who you are as a person. Because, like you rightly said, somebody that is very funny. In fact, in neuroscience, we believe that people who are extensively demonstrating happiness are depressed. Research shows that when you are excessively happy is a sign of depression. So what people say about you sometimes is not a reflection of fun and recreation. So that's personality playing out. An extrovert, as playful and joyful as they may come across, may not even be undertaking fun and recreation. So personality is different from fun and recreation as an activity. Once you dimension it properly and ask yourself those questions, then you can create what works for you. What matters is that you must create what works for you. Nobody can do that for you. It's very important. I hope that helps, madam. Coach Bash. Then I'll take Hajara or Noja. I think that will be the last two we'll take, please.
Baba Sam, my brother. Okay.
Come on, boss.
My question is coming to you as a behavioral expert, one of the best in Africa.
Yes, boss.
And it has to do with
grateful, sir.
An issue of the mind, whereby you think about something or you say that I'm not going to smoke again, for example. And I'm not talking about addiction now. I just use smoke as an example, but you find yourself buying a pack of cigarettes and you are enjoying it. Or you say, I'm not going to shout to my kids or my spouse, but you find yourself doing exactly the opposite thing of everything you think or say most of the time. So I look at that as something challenging when you come to like the wheel of life we've just gone through, that, oh, maybe I'll make a mark of on a scale of 1 to 10, this is where I am on family and friends. I need to make some changes. I said it, but I'm doing exactly opposite of what I just said to make that work. It's like I'm doing myself, kind of. So that gets me thinking that could there be a solution to this behavioral pattern? It happens to me as a person, but I know it happens to people around me too that talk about it when they come to me for advice, and I will say, where you are, I'm also there. So kind of a thing. But you, as my friend, my boss, my colleagues in the industry, whether I know you are number one when it comes to behavioral experts, I know you can speak to this, sir.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much, sir. That's my boss in the coaching industry, guys. And it's a privilege he's asking this question. So this question is very valid. I can assume, let me say a very wild generalization. I think everybody struggles with something around their character improvement or their behavioral improvement. My personal generalization, permit me. I feel that all of us, there's something we want to improve on that we seem to be struggling with and having setbacks around at least one thing. That's my personal take. So where that comes in is that I believe in self-compassion. I believe that when your motive is right, I want to improve on this area, it should be matched with self-compassion. You should be able to say, I know I'm trying in all honesty to improve in this area, and I will accommodate that I may relapse or fall in the attempt to improve. Those are some of the things that helped me too, because there were a lot of areas that I told myself, I don't want to do this again. No, I don't want to do this again. No, I want to improve in this area. No, I'd like to improve in this area. No, I'd like to change the impression or reputation I have in this area. And I know several times I'm always falling back like, oh, well, let's go again. Let's go again. Like John Maxwell calls it, failing forward. So I think that we should show self-compassion. I think that we should accommodate the fact that we would fall in the journey of making progress. But I think the most important thing is not losing hope that I will never succeed in this area. It will not work. Maybe the strategy is not working. Maybe the tactics is not working. Maybe the approach is not working. Maybe the accountability system is not working. Maybe the resources are not working. Just maybe something needs to be different, but not the goal. So the goal is to improve in an area, but how we improve in the area, we can be changing them depending on how effective or not effective what we are doing is. So I think that way it will help. If you ask me, we're on a lifetime journey. There is no formula. You cannot say in the next 3 years, I want to stop this thing, pata pata. It may work, it may not work. But for me, it's a life journey. If it takes you 10 years to fix one character and you know that you made progress, I think it's better than crashing it in 3 years, relapsing, crashing it in 1 year, relapsing, crashing it in another year. I mean, I don't see the point in that. You're not doing it to impress anybody. You're not doing it to, bamboozle anybody. I was telling Mrs. O 2 days ago, I said, I know in future there are days I will come back and say, I'm struggling with this area and I need time to work on it. Because I think that if you come to that sense of being true to yourself and say, I know I want to improve in this area, but I'm struggling, that is a big win. That way you give yourself room to improve. Kaizen will say, ever increasing improvement. That small micro growth, 0.01%. No matter how tiny, you know you're improving. So I'm going to leave it at that and say self-compassion is key. Accommodating that you may not get it always is key. And then there is no timeline. Don't put yourself in a box and say, this year resolution, Oh, this year I must stop this one. This year I must start that one. Make it progressive. I think it's easier that way. So thank you, Coach Bash, for that question. The last hand is Hajara or
Thanks,
Naja.
boss.
I think that will be the last hand if you
Coach,
don't
can
mind.
I ask you a quick
Bless you, sir.
question with regard with
Hi, Hajara.
Hello, can I ask Coach a quick question, about the wheel of life itself?
Okay.
Can we take Hajara first?
Can you just,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My question is a quick one, a short one, really. I wanted to know what is the role of time and age in all of this?
Okay, great. Good question. So it comes back to you, actually. You have to define what these things mean to you. There are some cases and situations that look like time-bound cases. A typical example will be a lady who thinks that I have to be married by so time because of so reason and because of biological reasons. So we do not pretend like everything does not require some check in time and context and age. That is true. However, I think it still boils down to what are the outcomes I seek, what is within my control, and what is outside my control. No matter how much you are fixated on time and age, there are just some things that are outside your control. All achievements may be time-bound, but the timing of achieving them is outside your control. So you can say, oh, I want to achieve so outcome and goals by this time. It can happen. But again, if it doesn't happen, well, what are you going to do? So this is where maybe I should introduce the divine factor, the God factor, the fact that we also need to recognize that irrespective of our efficiency of being smart, timing, calculation, strategy, structure, there's also the factor that God says, I see all you are doing, but I'm not ready to give you yet. So what are you going to do about that? So I would just want to advise, it's good to set time, because in goal setting, they say make it time bound. It's good to have frames of targets. It's good to say you want to achieve this by this time in this way before this age. These things play a role, but remember that component of time is actually outside your control. It's very, very key. Another thing that age does is that the older we get, the more set we are in our ways. So one thing you also need to remember is checkmate yourself. When we do business strategy, there's something we normally say. We say, honor the past, challenge the present, and create the future. It's a strategic component. Honor the past. Wherever you're coming from, it exists. Stop living in denial that it exists. Whatever your background is real. Honor it. Accept it. Respect it. Then the part of that past that is not working for you today, challenge it and say, even though this is how we used to do things in my village, but it's not working for me. So change your beliefs, change your attitude in the present, challenging the things from the past that are not working for you, even though you honor the past. What that means is somebody from your past may still be doing what they are doing. Honor them the way they are. Don't say, you have not grown. You mean you're still doing this thing? You're not honoring the past by doing that. For you, challenge your present while honoring the past, and then recreate your future. Create your future means, which is what we just discussed, those 5 tips. What would I rather want? How can I focus on that thing? Focus on what matters to you most. Most times we focus on other people's things, other people's perceptions, other people's opinions, other people's preferences for us, instead of asking ourselves, all things being equal, what do I really want? And then putting resources in that direction, and then letting time and God and chance playing his own role. So I don't know if this answers your question, Hajara, but that's my perception. Time and age is a component of life, but most times it is not within our control. You just do your part and then let God finish the rest. That is the way I'm going to leave it. I hope this works for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Coach. You answered it very well.
God bless you.
Thank you. For, yes, sir.
Awesome.
Amen.
Thank you. Awesome. So, Madam Joy, can we now take your question as we round up?
Thank you very much. I would ask that quickly, though I have just done a quick search, but I don't really use the Wheel of Life in my work. So I am asking you, but I think you will tell me if I'm right or not. I think it can be tweaked, like the position of the elements of the Wheel of Life can be changed. Am I right?
Oh, so
because
the Wheel of Life is not cast.
Okay, I ask this because like the Wheel of Colors, the colors, there are colors that are close by, there are colors that are opposite the other, so that even when you are combining colors, it helps you with color combination. So I just wanted to know if this applies to the Wheel of Life.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me make this clear. The Wheel of Life, even the wheel I showed you, is not standard in itself. You recall I said, if I was to redo this wheel, I'll separate family from friends. So the Wheel of Life can be adapted to a purpose. For example, somebody here on this call, Josephine, is an educationist. She can design a wheel for educators, or a wheel of, she's an early years educationist. She can decide that there are key elements a child in early years class must be invested in or must be developed in. She can decide to create wheel of early years, if she wants to call it that way. And it has nothing to do with Wheel of Life. So what I projected is a symbol. And there are many examples of Wheel of Life. For example, the one I shared does not have spirituality. Another wheel somewhere has spirituality. So it's not fixed. It's not cast in concrete. You can dismantle it. You can redo it. You can add some. You can remove some. Anything that works for you, really. It's just for you to be honest that it is goal focused. What's the goal I want to achieve with this wheel? And does it capture everything I want to achieve in that goal? And then you're good. So I hope that helps. So I am happy to end at this point. Thank you for having me.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry, sir. Please.
Okay.
Yeah. And what I want to ask is this. I feel that maybe this might even resonate with a few persons here. What do you do when you're trying to work on some aspects of the wheel of your life, and there are significant persons in your life that can influence how you work on these things, who play major roles, who might be the way they'll be propellers for these aspects of your life, there will be setbacks. Yes. What do you do? How do you navigate this aspect? Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. Thank you.
Okay. Let me quickly pull up a wheel that can answer your question very straightforward. I hope I can quickly pull that up. There is a wheel, and I shared this on Sunday. There's a wheel we call the stakeholder matrix that talks about the interplay of power and influence. Good, I found the wheel. I found the image. It talks about the interplay of power and influence, or some people call it interest, the interplay. And what does that mean? There will always be people in your life who want to influence the things you do because it will directly or indirectly affect them. And they want to have a say in the things you do. And it's all about stakeholder management, because you cannot, of course, just act like nobody, it doesn't concern everybody. Everybody stay away. No, you won't do that. So it's important for you to consider that everybody has a stake. I'm trying to open this. My internet is slow. I would like to show that image. It will go a long way to help with this. Okay. So it's opening. Just give me a second to show that slide, and it will just make sense when you see it. So there is interchange of power and influence or interest. And what it says is that you need to identify this person that I'm considering in the scheme of things, where does this person fit in the scheme of things? And how do I manage this person in the scheme of things? So take a look at my screen now. Please take a look at my screen. It's called the stakeholder matrix. If you can see my screen, please type 0. If you can see my screen, just type 0. Okay, very good. Good. So if you see the screen, it says that there are people who are powerful in your life, and there are people who have interest in your life, or they are influential in your life. Depending on where this person is in this matrix, you now know what to do. So a typical example, somebody who has high power and high interest, they are key players in the scheme of things. You need to carry them along like in total. A typical example, maybe a spouse. A typical example, a key mentor. For us in Nigeria that are very spiritual, religious, maybe your spiritual leader. People place them high power, high influence. So you find yourself giving them updates on the second, on the go, because you don't want a situation where you have gone far with that decision and they come back and say, I don't think you're going in the right direction. No matter how much you try to block it off, that thing will be in your head. So if somebody in your life has high power and high interest, they are in fact, they're as good as they are part of that decision. Meanwhile, somebody may have high power but low interest. Low interest means that whatever you do, just be doing it. I'm fine. Just keep me informed. There are some people, they are not interested in whether you get it right, you don't get it right. But they want to be feeling like, I know she's doing it. I know he's doing it. Keep them satisfied. That's high power, low interest. Then there are people who are low power, low interest. They don't know you. They don't care. They don't have any influence over you. They cannot have a say. That's like social media people. Social media people are low power, low interest. People you have no idea where they come from, but they are influencing your decisions. That does not even make sense because they are low priority. Just ignore them. Then there are people that have low power but high interest. They are interested in you. They care about you. They want you to succeed. Those kind of people are like your children, like your siblings. For adults, even your parents come into play in this point because they don't have power over you to say, don't do this, do that. But they are interested in you. When you do these things, they are afraid for you. You need to also keep them informed. Carry them along. Let them know that I got this, just to let you know, just for your information. So it's good that you asked that question because, yes, these things really matter. We cannot act like it's just only us in the earth. These things matter, and I hope this matrix answers your question. Amen. Okay. So I think I can take a bow now. And please, nobody should ask any questions. Thank you.
No, nobody will ask any more questions, but we want to say thank you, Coach Sam. So before we close out, before we conclude and do our official vote of thanks to Coach Sam, I'd like to ask us to just put on our videos, so we can take a group photograph for this session. So can we please just put on our videos?
Please forgive me, I'm on my way out to the park. Oh, I'm dressed for, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Neka, you're mute if you are speaking.
You can't hear me. Sorry. Okay. So, thanks everybody. Thanks everybody. Okay, so just give us 1 minute while we capture everybody that we can see. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Coach Sam. Thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us. I personally did enjoy today. I mean, I always enjoyed all the sessions that we had, but I did enjoy it. Felt personal. You know, I know that there are areas of my life that I want to change. When you said, you know, we should just give ourselves, we should show ourselves love. We should not just want to change everything at the same time. So I'm sure everyone here took out one lesson or the other. I would like our CEO, the person of Haja Aisha Abubakar. She's on this call, I believe. I don't know if she's logged out. I'd like her to give the vote of thanks on behalf of Tarihaan Integrated Services.
Good morning or good afternoon, Coach Sam. This is Aisha Abubakar. Thank you very much.
Good to hear from
I
you,
know
Ma.
we've been dying to have you for some time, and I'm glad it became a reality. We believe that you have a lot to share. We've heard so much about you, and I look forward to meeting you in person. You've really shared things that are very personal to us, and those same beliefs and whatever would also affect how we become 2024 and onwards. Regardless of age, time, you know, our beliefs, our environments, and how I think you've told us to go back and look at our inner selves, identify what our competencies are, and be able to use them to make our lives better in the future. And God will do the rest. Thank you so much, Coach. Bashir has always been singing your praises, and you know he's part of the Tarihaan team as well. So I'm glad you're here. And folks, he did say a 1 hour session is $500. So we should give him a round of applause. Thank you very much, Coach. Have a great day.
Okay, so we can do well to unmute ourselves at the count of 5, we're going to unmute and just give him a round of applause. So are we ready?
Tarihaan style.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. We really appreciate. I think that he has logged up now. So please do well to share your email addresses with us if you want to get, you know, the recording for this session. We hope that you follow us on our Instagram page. We dropped our Instagram handle there. We have these hangouts every month. So at the end of, you know, each month, before the end of the first Tuesday of every month, we have our monthly hangout. Today is February 6th. So in the next 1 month, that should be March 6th, we'll have the next hangout. And you never know who we're bringing. You never know what we have in stock for you. So do well to follow us on Instagram. Do well to, you know, like our page and ensure that you are commenting. So from us to you, do have a lovely day, and we hope that your life counts. We hope that you're taking all the necessary steps to make sure that you're changing and you're growing, and we would like to see you at the very top or at the very best of your living. So have a lovely day and enjoy the rest of your month. Bye from Tarihaan. Bye.